And we're about 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Katie Greifeld and Matt Miller here, Romaine Bostic on assignment, here to help take us through the closing bell. It's that global simulcast, joined now by Carol Massar and Tim Stenovec. We bring together all of our different audiences across television, radio, and YouTube. And Carol, you take a look at the market reaction today. It's not quite the rally that we saw on Friday, but pretty dang good.
Yeah, and listen, what we're talking about, maybe another record on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and not too far off a possible record on the S&P 500. I think 69.78 is what we're looking for. So we'll see a lot more of a bullish tone. Dig inside the S&P 500, though, kind of an even split when it comes to winners and losers today.
You know, Bitcoin. I'm doing this for Matt Miller.
Why for me?
After last week,
Tim.
Matt used to host the crypto show.
Yeah, but you host it now.
I do. After last week, I was thinking, okay, am I going to go home this weekend and Bitcoin's going to be jumping all over the place? I'm going to have to keep one eye on the Bloomberg terminal. It kind of just hovered around $70,000 the entire weekend.
Because you were watching it all weekend?
I guess. I don't know.
Matt, Tim did that just for you.
I don't really think that often about Bitcoin anymore unless I'm, trying to figure out the password I lost 10 years ago. It is, to me, amazing that this thing trades even at 70, even at 60, $1,000.
Mike McGlone said it could go down to $10,000.
I believe it. I think it could probably go to zero as well.
Sort of feels like pick a number, and you can make a case for that forecast. And as I heard you say last week, Tim, on Balance of Power, no fundamentals, no cash flows, so who really knows? But let's talk about what we're seeing at the close of this Monday session. The S&P 500, it's going to finish off its session highs, but we're still looking at a gain of about 0.5%. The NASDAQ, a little bit better here, higher by about 0.9%. And then you take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, really flat on the day. Can't really glean anything from that.
It's 50,000.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, the Russell 2000 as well, a gain for the little guys on what was broadly a risk-on day, Carol.
Remember way back when there was a day when people actually cared about the Dow Jones Industrial Average?
I still do. Just because Katie and John Farrow don't care about it doesn't mean we have to all dismiss it as
two peas in a pod.
Stock market index that more Americans know, maybe more global citizens than any other in the world.
It's price-weighted. It's price-weighted. What does that mean in 2026?
It means that the higher the price of the stock, the more weight it has.
That's ridiculous.
Right. That's right. And I mean, 0% of global citizens know that or care.
Thank you.
Thank you for the explanation.
Thank you, financial Wikipedia. All right, S&P 500. Let's go. Let's get this train back on track.
Are you looking at the IMAP, Carol?
No, I'm not. I'm going to do the setup for the IMAP. 264 names in the S&P 500 higher, 237 to the downside, 2 unchanged. Is that now to Matt?
Yeah,
yes.
I'm looking at this big pie chart on the screen here, and you'll notice that information technology is the greenest piece of that pie, a gain of 1.6% as NVIDIA does well and carries the day for the S&P. In terms of the losers, you see their healthcare, you see consumer discretion, as well as financials. They've all done poorly with staples.
We actually called it a circle, not a pie, you know?
Yeah.
Matt, you can call it whatever you want.
It's not my favorite way to look at the S&P in terms of an industrial group breakdown. I like the GRR better.
Well,
I love GRR.
Yeah.
You can do that in the mornings.
I do that on the open. Do we not do winners and losers here? Did Carol and Tim not pick out winners and losers?
Carol's raring to go.
I'm waiting, baby. All right, so let's go to the number one gainer in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. We're talking about AppLovin, up about 13%, let's be fair. 13% here in today's session, up the most in nearly a year. Citi saying clients are up week over week. They cited some store leads data that suggests the AppLovin has nearly 6,400 e-commerce clients through February 6th, so that's up about 3% from the prior week. I'm thinking probably two at play here. Barron's was kind of highlighting this. A financial publisher and short seller retracted some of its most explosive claims regarding AppLovin's alleged connections to transnational crime syndicates.
What?
Capital Watch. I don't know.
What does this company even do? I mean, did they name themselves after a character from Superbad?
The company's platform matches advertisers with mobile app growing game publishers. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely.
All
It's a
right.
$160 billion company.
I know. Stock down more than 30% year to date. Reports earnings on Wednesday after the close. But anyway, so this Capital Watch apparently came out and did retract some of these explosive claims. So I don't know. There's a lot going on.
They provide end-to-end software and AI solutions.
Software solutions.
All right. Well done, team. Well done. All right. Let's go to another name, Oracle. This was a top gainer, too, in the S&P 500. The stock in today's session, you can see higher as much as almost 12% at its highs today, up, though, with about a 9.6% gain at the close. Bernstein cut its price target. Melius downgraded the stock, but everybody focusing on D.A. Davidson, which upgraded the stock to buy from neutral, maintaining the price target from 180. Did it actually? I think it. No, did it maintain? I guess it did from 180. So what's interesting is the analyst note saying the fate of the stock is heavily tied to OpenAI and to a lesser extent TikTok, but those relationships could pay off according to D.A. Davidson. So that one was an outperformer. And then one, I don't know how much you guys were talking about this one, but Tegna rallying after President Donald Trump said a proposed acquisition of the firm by TV broadcaster Nexstar Media Group. I guess he was kind of expressing support for the deal in a post on Truth Social. And so the post said, no, actually, Argita Ranganathan of Bloomberg Intelligence came out and said, with President Trump and FCC Chair Brendan Carr backing Nexstar's Tegna deal, there's a greater likelihood of it closing this year. So Tegna, say that 5 times fast, up about 8.8% in today's session.
Okay, some of the gainers. I got some of the decliners. I want to start with Hims and Hers Health. The shares fell 16% today. They fell as much as 29% earlier in this session. Lowest level going all the way back to October of 2024. This is the worst day at the end of the day since June 23rd for the company. Novo Nordisk said it's suing the company for making knockoffs of its obesity medicines. This even after Hims scrapped plans to sell a copycat version of the Wegovy pill. Hims and Hers in a statement on X said, quote, Novo Nordisk's lawsuit is a blatant attack by a Danish company on millions of Americans who rely on compounded medications for access to personalized care. All right, let's move on to Kyndryl holding shares. This is the enterprise tech IBM spun off back in 2021. A large part of IBM's legacy infrastructure services unit down 55% today. Fell earlier in the session. This was the worst day ever. It was halted on volatility. This after news that Kyndryl CFO David Weichner had left the position. General Counsel Edward Siebold departed the post effective immediately. Vineet Khurana stepped down as senior vice president and global controller of the company and moved in a different role. Third quarter results also missed expectations. The company lowered its full year forecast for adjusted EBITDA and adjusted pre-tax profit. Shares shedding more than half of their market value just today. And finally, Workday falling on the day today. It announced that Anil Busri is returning as CEO, replacing Carl Eschenbach. This after the company shares have plummeted over the past year, down 5% today. Shares are down more than 45% from last year, more than 50% from those 2024 highs. This change effective immediately. Eschenbach is stepping down as a member of the board and staying on as a strategic advisor to Anil Busri.
All right, let's take a look at the Treasury market, what it did today. You might have expected more fireworks given that we got this interesting story overnight that China reportedly is urging its banks to curb U.S. Treasury exposure. But then you take a look at 2-year yields, 5-year yields, 10-year yields down slightly on the day. So no selling in response to this headline.
Nothing matters.
Nothing does.
Keep that in mind. By the way, did you see the Bad Bunny halftime show?
Of course
I don't know why. We've gone the whole day and no one has said anything about this.
I was expecting it to come up in the meeting. But
I thought it would be part of the chat.
Why?
Actually, we've said Bad Bunny already on air.
Well, what do you guys say? Tell us. What did you think?
Yeah, I actually didn't watch it, so.
What?
Not yet.
I thought it was
It was on very late. All of this stuff is on very late.
This is in Brooklyn. They drive Priuses and ride bikes instead of watching the Super Bowl, but the rest of us Americans watched it, and I thought it was a pretty good...
In Westchester County.
It was a pretty good show.
I thought it was a great show. It was really entertaining. It was a lot of celebs kind of worked in, and I thought Bad Bunny
I was
great.
thrilled to see Lady Gaga there. Some people were saying it was a random cameo, but I thought she did a great job. But it was interesting also that the grass was people. It
Had
was just
feet.
People in the grass.
It had feet.
Yes. Yeah, you can't have that many carts on the turf.
It's like Katy Perry's like dancing sharks.
Sharks.
Remember that?
Yeah.
How could we forget? Tim doesn't remember.
No.
No, because he was in bed.
He was cross-pollinating his wheat germ grass at the time.
Preparing his compost to take out in the morning. That's cool, though, Tim.
Getting the $1 million coffee pot ready
Are we having fun yet?
That does it.
in the hot
Matt,
tub.
are you here all week?
In the hot tub
No.
in the
Just
back.
today.
Just today.
We should
Just out of
keep going.
curiosity.
Yeah, no.